Out here where I live is a pretty rural area. The next biggest town, the fastest internet they can get is 100 meg internet. I'm pretty much out in the boonies here, and my internet provider, there's only one option, and they offer 10 meg DSL. I actually have to pay $105 a month. They charge me to have the phone line turned on and the internet even if I don't use the phone line. So the internet is $45 a month, and then I have to spend an extra $60 a month for the phone to be on. So in total I pay $105 a month for internet. That 10 meg isn't really a stable 10 meg. It's very variable. If my wife is browsing Pinterest or Etsy or whatever, it'll drop down to like 6 megs. It all depends on the day. I used to have good internet until I moved, and by good internet I'm talking like 100 meg. Like I said, that's about the fastest you can really get in the immediate area. So I'm really excited for this. The minimum speed that Starlink advertises is 50 megs. So you can get, they claim 50 to 150, but a lot of people in other videos are getting much higher speeds. Even if I get the bare minimum 50, it's still 5 times faster than my current internet. My internet does randomly drop out sometimes. There'll be periods where if I'm watching a movie, it'll be fine, and then it'll drop out for 5 minutes. I've had my internet go out for multiple hours at a time. I've had it go out for almost, a whole night before. It really sucks. So anything is going to be better than what my current internet is. And at the price I pay, I think it's just ridiculous. So as I mentioned before, I'm paying for DSL, and it's okay if I'm just playing a game, but when it comes to actually downloading something, it's terrible. My upload speeds are less than 1 meg, and my download speed on a good day is 9. With the way games are these days, it's not uncommon for a game to be 100 gigabytes plus, and that will literally take me, sometimes 24 hours, sometimes more than 24 hours to download. So I'm really excited for this, and the upload speeds will be much better. For me to upload any of these YouTube videos, it takes hours. I have to let it run overnight. So I think the upload is about 20 megabits. It is a one-time fee of $500. I paid $482 for the dish and that hardware setup, and then with this extra cable routing kit, and then with the pole mount adapter, they were both $25 a piece. So $525 for everything, one-time fee. And I'll get cheaper internet every month, and it'll be way better internet. So this is going to be kind of a video. I'm going to show you how I set it up. I do have a pole mount right there that I'm going to use. In another video, I will probably do some gameplay footage and show you like what kind of latency I'm getting. The latency is only going to improve the more satellites that they launch, and they launch right now about 60 a month, I believe. And at the time of filming this video, there's around 1,700 satellites in the sky, and Elon is approved for way more. The reason that Starlink works better than other satellite internets is because the satellites are a lot closer. They're a lot closer to the Earth. They're about 300 miles above the Earth, whereas the other satellites are about 1,200 miles, so it's quite a substantial difference. This allows them to offer lower latency and better connections. So I will go over the pole mount that I have and show you how I'm going to set it up. So the setup is just pictures. I'm not really going to go over that. It's pretty self-explanatory. So in here, we have the dish, which they call dishy. We have this tripod mount, which we're not going to use because I have the pole mount. And then it comes with the PoE injector, the power over Ethernet, and then it comes with 100 feet of Cat 6 cable, and then it comes with their little router here. I'm going to try using their router. You can use your own if you don't like that. But that's what's in that box. So this is my pole that I'm going to mount it to. This is 1-inch galvanized pipe. I have a flange drilled into the deck here, as you can see. And then I just have a T, an elbow, a coupler, and 3 12-inch sections of pipe, and then a cap on top so water doesn't leak in there. I'm going to mount the pole mount adapter on that and then mount my dish on top. So this is the pipe adapter here. This fits up to a 2-inch pipe. It also has the bolts that you put in here and here to clamp it and secure it onto your pipe. And it comes with a carrying bag for the dish. This would be if you're climbing a ladder with it or going up on your roof. I won't need that, but it's a nice addition. And then the cable routing kit. It comes with instructions, silicone. It comes with a pilot bit. It comes with a little tool here that you clip your Cat 6 into for routing through the wall. It's actually a pretty good idea so you're not snagging it up on things. And then a 1-inch spade bit, little clips for or tie downs that you screw in for your cable, and then 2 grommets. So, and these just go on your wall, and then you silicone around them to prevent moisture from getting in.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here.
These are 11mm bolts, in case you were wondering.
It's clear to see from up here. The world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be.
At this point, the Ethernet cable from the dish is ran through the side of my house, and then I routed it through my basement into the game room, which is where I want the router to sit all the time. And then I just need to plug in the Ethernet cable that powers the dish, and then the Ethernet cable from the router, and then I should have internet. I have another camera set up on the dish, so when I plug it in, you'll be able to see the dish move and adjust itself to where it's going to get the best signal. One thing to mention is I do have an Ethernet switch plugged in. The router only has two Ethernet ports in it. So you have your incoming and then your outgoing. I have the outgoing plugged into a Ethernet switch, which has 8 other ports on there, so I have enough slots to hook everything up. I have my Philips Hue for my ALEXA and all the smart devices, and then I have my computer, my wife's computer, you know, a console hooked up to it. So it's one thing to keep in mind if you are going to get Starlink. You can use your own router if you would rather do that, but I don't think you have access to the statistics in the app. So I'm gonna use this one and see how it is. It's a little wobbly, but I'm not gonna be touching it all the time, so it should be okay. Looks like the router is turning on. I did end up having to move my dish. You can see this tree here all the way over to about here. These are the only things that were in the edge of the window on the app that showed me that would have been obstructed. So I have this entire sky, and this is where my dish wanted to point. So what I did was I took it off the deck. So this is what I came up with after I had to move it. I have a couple 2x4s that are treated, and then I used some lag bolts and screwed them into the corner frame stud of the house, and then I have a couple floor flanges. Each section of pipe is 1 foot, and then I've got an elbow, a T, a coupling, and then I use the same pipe adapter that I bought to put on the deck. So similar setup, but I just have it on the corner. It now has a clear view. It wants to point this way here, so it hasn't moved since I plugged it in, and it's been this way for a couple weeks now. So I think I finally found a good spot. My speeds are good. The app tells me I don't have any obstructions ever, and you can see the sky is pretty open right here. The obvious question here is Starlink worth it? And my answer is yes. However, if you live in a big city where you can get fiber or you can get 100 meg internet, if I were to move a half hour away, I could get 100 meg internet. And it would be cable, and it would be slightly more reliable than Starlink. It's probably cheaper. You don't have to pay for the startup equipment. You'd be better off going that route. But for people like me, who my only option for internet was a monopoly that only offered 10 meg internet, and that was DSL, with less than 1 meg upload, this is a huge upgrade. You know, I've downloaded several things since I had Starlink up and running. I've downloaded a bunch of games on Steam. I've downloaded stuff off of Epic Games. Even streaming. I couldn't stream a 1080p video before. Just watching it on YouTube, I'd have to put it to 720p and it would still buffer all the time. I can watch 4K videos most of the time with very, very minimal buffering now. For Netflix, it's great. Never have to worry about, you know, buffering or any of that. And before, I couldn't watch 4K content on Netflix. My internet was too slow. It would automatically go to either 1080p or 720p. Now I can stream 4K movies on Netflix. You know, it's a huge game changer for some people. The longer that Starlink is up and running and the more satellites they launch, and the longer it's available in your area, the better it gets. So for me, it's only been available for about a month. I don't know anybody else in the immediate area that has it. I know I have a brother that signed up for it, you know, a few months ago, and he hasn't heard anything yet, and he lives, you know, relatively close to me too. But I had to wait 6 months to get my invitation, and if you're considering it, my advice to you would be put your deposit down now. It's refundable, and then just wait for your invitation. The sooner you put in for it, it's right now a first come first served basis. My average ping in games is anywhere from 30 to 60, which in my opinion is more than acceptable, especially when you factor in that you're on a satellite internet connection. Now there will be times where I'll get slight lag spikes and my character might be running and then I'll kind of freeze for 2 seconds and then it'll go back to normal. But there's also instances where my ping will jump up from, you know, 50 to 150, but it almost always drops back down within 10-15 seconds. I rarely ever actually get disconnected because my ping is too high. Now, again, going back to this is a beta, this is not a full release service from Starlink, so I would expect some issues. Now, the more satellites that are launched, the better this will get. The longer you have Starlink in your area, the more time they have to better rearrange the satellites, which is something they do where, you know, they'll change the software and the satellites and tell them, well, you're going to go in this rotation and this orientation above a certain area to provide a better, you know, net of service than you would before. So they're constantly trying to improve and constantly trying to make it closer and closer to cable. Personally, I wouldn't really notice a difference between this and cable as long as I didn't get the lag spikes, which I really truly believe will go away in the end. I think once this is a full released service and they iron out all the bugs and do all the software patches, I firmly believe that this will be a competitor to cable. Obviously, you're not going to get fiber speeds yet, but I know Elon was talking about getting some sort of laser beam signal to provide even faster speeds than what we're already getting. And I know right now they're looking at ways to make the startup equipment cheaper. I believe they're pretty close to, by the end of 2021 or early 2022, having another dish that is half the size and half the cost. Now, I don't know what the quality of that is going to be like. I'm sure it will be good enough. I'm sure it'll still work just fine. So you'd be paying $250 for a startup kit instead of $500. The next big question I'm probably going to get is, how did you get into the beta? And the beta's been around for a while now. All I did was I went on the Starlink website, I punched in my address, and they will give you an estimated time when the service will be available in your area. For me, it said mid to late 2021. So I signed up for the beta in February, and I got my service here in August. So it was right when they said it would be. I was right in the middle between mid to late 2021. I gave them my $99 deposit, which is refundable if you change your mind. And then I waited for the email. That's all you can really do is wait for your email. Once you get the email from SpaceX saying that your Starlink kit's ready, you have two options. So you can refund your order and get your deposit back, or you can pay them the $482 it cost for your kit, which is the dish and the router, and then they will ship your Starlink out to you, and then it's up to you to set it up. And then I got billed, I think it was like 2 weeks after is when the billing cycle started, and I just got my first bill the other day, so I've had it for about a month. It's $99 every month after that, after you pay your initial $500. Another question I'm sure I'm going to get asked is, how is Starlink in bad weather? And honestly, I haven't noticed much of a difference. There's been quite a few pretty heavy thunderstorms, and the sky's been totally gray with tons of clouds, and you know that might affect normal satellite internet. It didn't really affect mine. It might a little bit, your speeds might be slightly slower, but it never cuts out or anything like that. I have yet to test Starlink in snow. Obviously it's the middle of September, but here in Upper Michigan we'll probably get snow mid to late November, and then you know after that all the way up until April or March we will have snow. Dishy does have a built-in snow melt mode that I'm excited to test out. From what I've seen in other videos, even bad snowstorms don't really affect the internet. It might slow your speeds down a little bit, but it doesn't stop your internet or anything like that. And the snow melt mode seems to work. It's just a little slower. And what that does is the dish actually heats itself up to melt some of that snow. I did mount it 6 feet up in the air on purpose, so that way if we do get a freak snowstorm and we get 2.5 feet of snow, it's something I can easily access and wipe off by hand. That's part of the reason why I didn't want to put it up on my roof. And right now I feel like it's in a good spot to do that. Obviously, if you have a bunch of snow piled up on your dish, it's not going to work very well because it's going to be obstructed. If you have any other questions, let me know. I will answer them as best I can. Other than that, I would say Starlink is definitely worth it.